Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. I just finished watching the first season of Batman Caped Crusader and wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the season as a whole. As per usual with these types of videos, spoilers ahead, you have been warned. From the moment that Batman Caped Crusader was announced all the way back in 2021, I had extremely high expectations for this series. It's supposed to be a more dark and serious take on the superhero genre, following Batman and diving into the psyche and what it means to be a superhero, and that all sounded fantastic and sounded like a breath of fresh air compared to what we have been getting lately from Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Brothers Animation with all the comedies and whatnot. And usually people say when you put such high expectations on something, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And in the case of Batman Caped Crusader, this series completely blew away any expectations that I had for it. This show was absolutely phenomenal, and I would quite frankly go as far as saying it was a masterpiece. This first season consisted of 10 episodes, and each episode was an absolute treat to watch, following a different villain from Gotham, following a different adversary for Batman. The first episode is following the Penguin, who is running a crime syndicate in Gotham that the police don't know about. The second episode follows Clayface, and quite frankly was probably my favorite episode of the entire series, as we see that he's trying to basically become a villain now because he can't get the girl of his dreams. In the third episode, we introduce Catwoman and show that there's a love interest between her and Batman, maybe more so on her side than Batman's side, but either way it creates an interesting dynamic in the series that I'm sure will be followed up upon in the upcoming season 2 and any other seasons we get after that. The fourth episode follows the police force trying to hunt down the Batman after he beat up some cops when he was trying to capture Catwoman, and we see the introduction of yet another villain to this series in Firebug. Then in episode 5 we see the introduction of Harley Quinn and how she's kind of brainwashing the rich people in Gotham to give up all their money to the poor. Episode 6 shows the introduction of the Gentleman's Ghost, who is essentially a ghost from one of the founding families in Gotham. Episode 7 shows the introduction of Onomatopoeia, and quite frankly it's probably my second favorite episode of the entire show, as we see that Onomatopoeia and his crew are hunting down Commissioner Gordon, or who we think is Commissioner Gordon. And then in episode 8 we have Natalia Knight as the new villain who's abducting children and basically sucking out their souls, kind of reminding me of Darkstar in the Ben 10 franchise. And then the final two episodes, being 9 and 10, show the introduction of Harvey Dent as Two-Face. Quite frankly, the way this series ended, spoilers again, is they killed Harvey Dent as Two-Face, which I was shocked to see them do such a thing because I assumed he would be a major villain in the series going forward, but nevertheless they set up that Joker is going to be coming into the fold in season 2. And the reason why I just gave you a quick rundown of the first 10 episodes of this series is because one thing that I absolutely love that they did is, while yes there is an overarching story that they are trying to tell, this is a serialized series, they also were able to introduce a new villain in every episode, really setting up this new world of Batman Caped Crusader so well, because yes, it is another iteration in the Batman franchise, but this is a brand new take on the franchise, and they did such a good job of introducing us to this world in Batman Caped Crusader and showing us all the different villains and whatnot that come into play and Batman's going to have to face as adversaries throughout the remainder of this series for however long it goes for. Not only that, but the tone of this show was absolutely phenomenal. Obviously it's a noir series, it's taking place in like 1930s, 1940s New York City, which obviously is Gotham in the world of Batman, and just the way they handled it was just absolutely phenomenal. Just the way the world is, the way all the crime syndicates are trying to run the city, so to speak, the way the police are trying to end corruption, but the police themselves are corrupt, so how do you end corruption when the corruption is within your house? It's just everything they did was perfectly executed in my opinion. The themes that they touched on, the dark vibes, the aesthetic that this show presents is just all handled so well, and quite frankly this probably might be my favorite superhero series of all time that came out of the DC universe. Prior to this I probably would have said my favorite is the original Teen Titans. Obviously this show only has one season, which is a small sample size to go off of, but if it continues on the trajectory that they're setting up with this first season, it continues down that path, I'm looking forward to see what we get in season 2. My one thing that I hope they do keep going going with season 2 is I do hope that they keep introducing a new villain in each episode, just like how they did in this season. I'm assuming Joker is going to take a bigger role in season 2, given that they're teasing him as the big bad at the end of the first season. But I hope they don't abandon all the world building that they started to do in the first season. Like, I hope in season 2 we not only see the Joker, but we see someone like Poison Ivy or Bane or the Riddler or Mr. Freeze, as well as the reintroduction, or the return I should say, of some of the villains that we saw in the first season of the show. Like, I'd love to see Catwoman appear in season 2 again. I'd love to see Harley Quinn return in season 2, as we know she's still alive after falling into the ocean at the end of her episode in episode 5. Just the way they handled this series, as I said before, was done to an absolute T, and quite frankly, it's a breath of fresh air compared to what we've been getting from Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers Animation over the past decade or so. And quite frankly, it's a breath of fresh air for the industry as well. We've been starting to see this a little more lately, getting some more serious animated series coming out of these studios. Like, obviously we have these Into the Spider-Verse movie franchise that started. That's obviously meant for older audiences as well, but it could also be enjoyed by kids, right? I would say Batman Caped Crusader leans more so heavily on being enjoyed by older audiences. I could not picture this show being on Cartoon Network, and that's one thing that's rather curious to me, because if you guys recall, when this show was announced back in 2021, it was announced alongside My Adventures with Superman. Both series were supposed to be premiering on Cartoon Network, with Batman Caped Crusader being a part of Acme Night. It was meant to be a show meant for all ages. And obviously, after the cancellation, if you will, at Max of this series, they sold the rights to it to Amazon Prime Video, and obviously it's premiering on Amazon. You can go watch it now if you haven't. But what I'm curious about is how much of this series changed because of the sale to Amazon, the rights being sold to Amazon. Because like I said before, I can't picture this show in the current state that it is, as dark, as serious as it is, premiering on Cartoon Network. It just doesn't fit Cartoon Network's MO right now. And quite frankly, they wouldn't even premiere My Adventures with Superman on Cartoon Network, which that show could be watched by anybody. It could be watched by me. It could be watched by, you know, a 10-year-old. It doesn't matter. The show's not so dark that a kid could enjoy it. But on the flip side with Batman Caped Crusader, I feel like this is something that they would never air on Cartoon Network, because it is that dark. It is something that shows a lot of killing and a lot of deaths within this series, and it has much more mature themes. There are some innuendos that are in this series that might not be suitable for younger audiences, right? There's alcoholism, there's dealing with depression, there's dealing with going crazy because your identity is changing. There are so many deep themes that are explored in this series, and like I said before, I quite frankly think that this show is a absolute masterpiece. I don't have a single complaint to say about it. I can't wait until we see more from this show. As I said before, there is a season 2 coming. It was a 2-season order when this show was first picked up. If I had to guess, I would say we'll probably see that at some point next year, and quite frankly, I can't wait for that, because more of this series is just a great thing, and hopefully this is a show that goes on for many, many years, because it's quite frankly some of the best animation that I've seen come out of Warner Brothers in at least 10 years. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What do you guys think about Batman Caped Crusader? Did you watch it, and did you love it as much as I did, or do you think it wasn't a good series and for whatever reason you didn't like it? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.